Ethan's recovery allowed him to gradually resume his duties. Despite lingering soreness from his injuries, he felt determined and eager to return to his responsibilities. Alyssa watched him carefully, ensuring he didn't push himself too hard. Her constant attention and care warmed Ethan's heart, deepening their bond further. The palace was calmer now, and the threat from rebels seemed temporarily subdued. However, tension still lingered beneath the surface. Alyssa was determined to establish a formal alliance with humans, believing unity was their strongest defense. Her advisors continued to express doubts, creating subtle friction within the palace. One morning, Alyssa called Ethan to join her in an important meeting. Representatives from her kingdom and Earth had arrived, eager to discuss potential alliances. Ethan felt honored and slightly nervous as he entered the grand meeting room. Aware of the importance of the discussions, the delegates greeted each other respectfully, sitting around a large table, ready to begin negotiations. Alyssa sat confidently at the head of the table, her voice clear and strong as she addressed everyone. "We are gathered here today to discuss a future that benefits all our peoples," Alyssa began firmly. "Unity is our greatest strength, and cooperation can ensure peace and stability." Ethan listened carefully as representatives from Earth responded positively, expressing eagerness to build strong relationships. However, Alyssa's advisors voiced their reservations, highlighting potential risks and concerns. The discussion grew intense, opinions clashing repeatedly. Eventually, Alyssa raised her hand gently, commanding attention. "I understand your concerns. However, our survival and prosperity depend on cooperation. Ethan's bravery and dedication have proven the potential strength of our alliance." Her advisors exchanged skeptical glances, but Alyssa's determination remained unshaken. She turned to Ethan, her violet eyes soft yet serious. "Ethan, please share your thoughts. Your perspective is important." Ethan took a deep breath, carefully choosing his words. "I've experienced firsthand how unity and trust can lead to strength and victory. Alyssa's vision for cooperation is wise and forward-thinking. Together, humans and your people can achieve far greater things than we could separately." The human delegates nodded in agreement, clearly impressed by Ethan's sincerity. Alyssa smiled gently, appreciative of his support. However, her advisors remained cautious. "How can we ensure mutual trust?" Marcus challenged firmly, looking directly at Ethan. Ethan met Marcus's gaze steadily, responding calmly. "Trust grows through actions and consistent honesty. Alyssa has demonstrated trustworthiness repeatedly. I believe humans will do the same." Marcus hesitated briefly, then nodded slowly, seemingly satisfied by Ethan's response. The meeting continued positively, each representative discussing practical steps to formalize the alliance. After the meeting concluded, Alyssa and Ethan walked quietly through the palace gardens, reflecting on the discussions. Alyssa sighed softly, looking thoughtful. "Ethan, your support today meant a lot to me. Without you, convincing my advisors would be far more difficult." Ethan smiled softly, looking at her gently. "I truly believe in your vision, Alyssa. I want to see it become reality." Alyssa stopped walking, turning fully to face him. "You've been more than just supportive. You've been essential." Ethan felt warmth fill his heart at her words, meeting her gaze sincerely. "Alyssa, I'll always support you, no matter what challenges we face." Alyssa's eyes softened further, her voice gentle yet firm. "And I will always support you, Ethan." However, their peaceful moment was abruptly interrupted by the sound of urgent footsteps. Lucas, the trusted guard, approached swiftly, looking worried. "Princess Ethan, urgent news. A plot against the Alliance has been uncovered. Some rebels and disgruntled palace staff have joined forces. They intend to disrupt the signing ceremony tomorrow." Alyssa's expression grew serious immediately. "Do we know their exact plans?" Lucas nodded gravely. "They plan to sabotage the ceremony and harm delegates to create mistrust and chaos." Ethan quickly assessed the situation, determination clear in his voice. We must strengthen security immediately. Lucas, gather the most trusted guards and double-check everything. Lucas nodded sharply, rushing away to execute Ethan's orders. Alyssa looked worried but determined, her eyes firm. Ethan, we must prevent this. The alliance is too important to fail. Ethan took her hand reassuringly. We won't fail, Alyssa. We'll handle this together. They quickly moved to alert the palace, preparations intensifying. Security tightened significantly, guards alert and ready. Ethan personally inspected each security measure, leaving nothing to chance. Alyssa remained close, offering guidance and ensuring calm. As the ceremony approached, anxiety increased throughout the palace. Ethan felt the weight of responsibility heavily, but remained composed and focused. His calmness inspired others around him, bolstering morale. On the morning of the ceremony, the palace was filled with heightened alertness. Delegates arrived cautiously, sensing the tension. Alyssa greeted each delegate personally, ensuring their comfort and confidence. The ceremony began smoothly, Ethan and Alyssa closely monitoring everything. Midway through, a sudden disturbance occurred outside the main hall. Ethan reacted immediately, calmly directing guards to respond. Rebels attempted to breach security, attacking fiercely. Ethan coordinated the defense efficiently, quickly containing the threat. His clear commands and bravery inspired confidence, swiftly restoring calm. As the ceremony concluded successfully, Alyssa approached Ethan, relief and gratitude shining in her eyes. Ethan, you saved us once again, Alyssa said softly, her voice filled with warmth and affection. Ethan smiled gently, visibly relieved. It was our joint effort, Alyssa. Your strength and leadership made all the difference. Alyssa gently held Ethan's hand, her eyes filled with deep emotion. You always give me strength, Ethan. I can't thank you enough. Ethan squeezed her hand softly, sincerity clear in his voice. Alyssa, being by your side means everything to me. They stood quietly together, the successful ceremony reinforcing their bond further. Despite challenges and threats, their trust and unity had prevailed, proving the strength and value of their alliance. Both felt deeply grateful and hopeful for their shared future, ready to face whatever challenges might lie ahead together. The palace settled into a tense calm after the latest attack. Everyone remained watchful, knowing peace could break at any moment. Ethan continued working closely with Alyssa and the guards, keeping the palace secure and ready. Despite their victory, anxiety lingered. One day, while Ethan checked security systems in the palace gardens, Alyssa approached him quietly. She seemed unusually thoughtful and quiet. Ethan immediately noticed her mood. Alyssa, is something wrong? Ethan asked, gently, concern evident in his voice. Alyssa hesitated briefly before speaking softly. I've been thinking about everything that's happened, Ethan. You risked your life repeatedly for me and my people. I need you to know how deeply grateful I am. Ethan smiled warmly, touched by her words. Alyssa, I've only done what anyone would. Protecting you is important to me. Alyssa looked deeply into his eyes, sincerity shining through. It's more than just protection, Ethan. You've become a trusted friend and ally, someone I deeply care about. Ethan's heart raced at her words. He felt warmth spread through him, yet he stayed calm and composed. Alyssa, your friendship means everything to me. Knowing I have your trust is something I greatly value. Alyssa took a gentle step closer, her violet eyes serious, yet warm. Ethan, I've never allowed anyone to come so close to know my fears and hopes. But you have shown loyalty and kindness beyond my expectation. I trust you completely. Ethan felt deeply honored, gently reaching out to hold her hand. You have my complete loyalty, Alyssa. I'll stand by you always. Alyssa smiled gently, visibly. Move. Thank you, Ethan. Knowing you're beside me makes me feel stronger. However, their peaceful moment was suddenly shattered by loud alarms ringing through the palace. Ethan reacted immediately, guiding Alyssa back inside swiftly. We need to get to safety, Ethan instructed firmly. Alyssa followed quickly, her expression focused and calm. As they reached the inner chambers, guards approached swiftly, reporting urgent news. Rebels have breached the outer defenses, a guard reported urgently. They're heading directly here. Alyssa's eyes narrowed, determination clear in her voice. We'll defend the palace at all costs. Ethan, take charge of the defenses again. Ethan nodded firmly, stepping into action quickly. He organized the guards swiftly, assigning positions clearly and decisively. The palace defenses activated fully, responding efficiently to Ethan's careful planning. The battle was fierce and relentless. Rebels attacked from multiple directions, testing the strength and resolve of the palace defenders. Ethan remained calm, directing guards confidently and bravely. Each successful defense increased the morale of everyone fighting. Amid the intense fighting, Ethan noticed a gap in the defenses near the gardens. Realizing the danger, he moved quickly, signaling guards to follow. As he approached, rebels emerged, fiercely attacking. Ethan stood his ground firmly, fighting bravely alongside the guards. During the fight, Ethan received a serious injury, pain shooting through him sharply. Yet he continued fighting, determined to protect Alyssa and the palace. Eventually, reinforcements arrived, forcing the rebels to retreat. Ethan leaned heavily against a wall, breathing deeply. Feeling dizzy from pain, Alyssa rushed to Ethan's side immediately, worry etched deeply into her face. Ethan, you're hurt. Ethan managed a weak smile, trying to reassure her. It's all right, Alyssa. I'll be fine. Alyssa quickly guided Ethan inside, personally attending to his injuries. She gently cleaned and bandaged his wounds, her hands shaking slightly with worry and care. You risked yourself again for me, Alyssa whispered softly, her eyes glistening with emotion. Ethan, please, you must be careful. Ethan looked at her gently, sincerity clear in his eyes. Alyssa, I will do anything to keep you safe. Alyssa gently held his hand, her voice soft and vulnerable. I can't lose you, Ethan. You've become too important to me. Ethan squeezed her hand reassuringly. I promise you won't lose me. I'll always protect you. Alyssa gently smiled, her violet eyes filled with warmth and affection. And I will always be here for you, Ethan. The days following the attack were quieter, allowing Ethan time to recover. Alyssa stayed close, frequently checking on him, showing deep concern and care. Their bond grew stronger during this peaceful time, deepening their understanding and trust. Ethan noticed how Alyssa opened up more fully, sharing her concerns openly. Her advisors remained wary, but Alyssa firmly assured them of Ethan's importance and trustworthiness. Ethan felt deeply honored by her steadfast support. One quiet evening, Alyssa visited Ethan as he rested. She sat beside him, her expression gentle and thoughtful. Ethan, I need your advice, Alyssa began softly. I'm considering a formal alliance between our peoples. Humans and my species working together officially. What do you think? Ethan considered carefully before replying. Alyssa, an alliance would benefit both our peoples greatly. Unity and cooperation would strengthen us all. Alyssa nodded slowly, agreeing with his words. You truly believe this would work? Ethan smiled confidently. I believe strongly in unity, Alyssa. Together, we can accomplish anything. Alyssa smiled warmly, comforted by his words. Thank you, Ethan. Your opinion means everything to me. Ethan gently held her hand, looking sincerely into her eyes. And your trust means everything to me, Alyssa. Alyssa's expression softened further, her voice gentle and affectionate. Ethan, you've taught me about trust and friendship in ways I never expected. I'm deeply grateful. Ethan felt warmth fill his heart, gently squeezing her hand. Alyssa, your friendship is my greatest honor. They sat quietly together, comforted by each other's presence. Their bond of trust and respect had grown immensely, offering them strength and hope for the future. Ethan felt deeply grateful for Alyssa's support and friendship, knowing they faced the future together. united and strong. After successfully defending the palace, Ethan became highly respected among Alyssa's people. They saw him as brave, reliable, and loyal. Despite this newfound respect, Ethan remained humble and focused on his work. He knew the threats were far from over and continued to improve the palace's defenses. Determined to keep Alyssa safe, Alyssa and Ethan grew closer with each passing day. Their conversations became longer and deeper, filled with understanding and quiet laughter. They often spent evenings discussing their past dreams and hopes for the future. Ethan cherished these peaceful moments with Alyssa, appreciating her openness and trust. However, not everyone in the palace approved of their closeness. Alyssa's advisors and high-ranking officials were concerned. They believed Ethan's influence on the princess could be dangerous, fearing it might weaken her authority or judgment. Whispers filled the halls about the human engineer and his close relationship with their princess. One evening, after finishing his daily tasks, Ethan was summoned by Alyssa's top advisor, Marcus. Ethan entered Marcus's chamber, feeling slightly nervous. Marcus was known for his stern manner and fierce loyalty to tradition. Marcus stared at Ethan coldly, his voice sharp and direct. "Ethan, your closeness with the princess concerns many of us. You are a capable engineer, but you should remember your place." Ethan kept his composure, respectfully replying, "My intentions have always been honorable, advisor. I only wish to protect and support Alyssa." Marcus's eyes narrowed slightly. "The princess is strong, Ethan. She does not need protection from a human. Remember, your presence here is temporary." Ethan felt a pang of unease but stood firm. "I understand my position clearly, advisor. I respect your traditions and Alyssa's authority. My only aim is to help." Marcus leaned closer, his voice dropping to a harsh whisper. "Then ensure your help remains professional. Personal involvement could jeopardize everything." Ethan nodded politely, hiding his frustration. "I understand. Thank you for your advice." As Ethan left the room, his mind was troubled. He cared deeply for Alyssa, and Marcus's words weighed heavily on him. He wondered if he was putting her at risk with their close friendship. Later that night, Alyssa noticed Ethan's quiet mood. They were sitting together near a window overlooking the beautiful gardens of the palace. Alyssa gently touched Ethan's hand, looking concerned. "What troubles you, Ethan?" Ethan sighed softly, hesitating before finally speaking. "Marcus spoke to me today. He's worried about our friendship. He thinks it might be dangerous for you." Alyssa frowned slightly, her violet eyes troubled. "Marcus worries too much. You've done nothing wrong. Our friendship strengthens us." Ethan looked into Alyssa's eyes, sincerity clear in his voice. "But Alyssa, your advisors think differently. Perhaps they have a point. I never want to cause you harm or trouble." Alyssa shook her head firmly, gently squeezing Ethan's hand. "Ethan, you're not causing trouble. You have brought trust, strength, and hope to my life. I won't allow their fears to come between us." Ethan felt warmth and relief at her words but remained cautious. "Still, we must be careful. I don't want to give them reason to doubt you." Alyssa nodded thoughtfully, understanding Ethan's concern. "You're right, we'll be cautious. But please don't distance yourself from me. Your support means more than you know." Ethan smiled softly, comforted by her trust and affection. "You have my support always, Alyssa." In the following weeks, Ethan became more careful, ensuring his interactions with Alyssa were respectful and professional when others were around. Still, their private moments remained warm and comforting, deepening their bond quietly. One morning, troubling news arrived at the palace. Rebel forces had grown stronger, and another attack seemed imminent. Alyssa called for an urgent meeting with her advisors and military leaders. Ethan attended, standing silently at the back, carefully listening. "The rebels threaten our stability," Marcus stated gravely. "We must reinforce our defenses further." Alyssa nodded firmly, her voice strong and confident. "We will stand firm. Our defenses are strong, thanks to Ethan's tireless work. I trust his judgment." Marcus glanced briefly at Ethan, his eyes cold. We should not rely solely on one person's judgment, Princess. Alyssa's eyes narrowed slightly, her voice firm. Ethan's judgment has proven trustworthy repeatedly. He stays involved in all decisions. Marcus frowned but nodded slowly, clearly unhappy but respecting Alyssa's decision. The meeting ended shortly after. With plans clearly outlined and agreed upon as everyone left, Alyssa approached Ethan quietly. Thank you, Ethan, for your dedication. It gives me strength. Ethan smiled reassuringly, feeling renewed confidence. Always, Alyssa. In the days that followed, tension rose again within the palace. Defenses were strengthened further, and everyone stayed alert, knowing an attack could happen anytime. Ethan worked tirelessly, ensuring everything was prepared, checking and rechecking every system. One evening, as Ethan inspected the outer defenses, he spotted suspicious activity near the palace perimeter. Recognizing danger, he quickly alerted the guards, ordering them to positions. Ethan stayed calm, clearly guiding the guards and preparing for defense. Alyssa, alerted by the alarms, joined Ethan outside, her expression focused and determined. What's happening? Intruders at the perimeter, Ethan explained quickly. We're prepared, Alyssa. Stay close and safe. Alyssa nodded firmly, staying by Ethan's side as the first wave of rebels attacked fiercely. Ethan coordinated the guards skillfully, each order clear and decisive. The palace's defenses held strong under his careful planning. The battle was intense, the attackers determined. Ethan stayed calm and decisive, his bravery inspiring the guards around him. Alyssa watched Ethan with admiration and pride, her trust in him unshakable. After hours of fierce fighting, the rebels finally retreated, unable to break the palace's defenses. Exhausted but relieved, Ethan checked every guard personally, ensuring their safety. Alyssa approached him quietly, pride and gratitude in her eyes. Ethan, you've protected us again. Your bravery inspires everyone. Ethan smiled softly, tired, yet proud. We all did it together. I'm just glad you're safe. Alyssa gently placed her hand on his arm, her voice soft and affectionate. You're humble, Ethan. Your courage gives me hope and strength. Ethan met her gaze warmly, feeling deeply grateful for her trust. You give me strength too, Alyssa. We're stronger together. Alyssa smiled softly, nodding in agreement. They stood quietly together, united by trust and respect, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Ethan worked hard to strengthen the palace's defenses, checking every detail thoroughly. He knew any small mistake could endanger everyone, especially Princess Alyssa. The pressure was high, but Ethan remained calm and determined. He moved quietly around the palace, fixing and improving the systems, always aware of Alyssa's presence nearby. One evening, as Ethan finished another long day, he decided to walk outside the palace walls to clear his mind. The night air was cool and refreshing, the alien landscape peaceful under the soft glow of multiple moons. He walked slowly, lost in thought about everything that had happened since his arrival. Ethan, a voice called softly behind him. He turned quickly, surprised to see Alyssa standing alone, wrapped in a delicate robe, her violet eyes gentle and thoughtful. Princess, Ethan said quietly, bowing his head respectfully. Is everything all right? Alyssa stepped closer, looking around carefully. To ensure they were alone, I wanted to speak with you away from the others. Ethan's heart beat faster, wondering what she needed to discuss privately. Of course, Princess, what is it? Alyssa paused, clearly gathering her thoughts. I've been observing you closely, Ethan. Your kindness, courage, and dedication are rare. Among any species, Ethan felt his cheeks grow warm, unsure how to respond. Thank you, Princess. It's my duty and honor to help. Alyssa shook her head gently, stepping closer still. No, Ethan, it's more than duty. I see genuine care in your actions, care for my people, and perhaps even for me. Ethan swallowed hard, heart racing at her words. Princess, I deeply respect you. You're an inspiring leader. Alyssa's violet eyes softened even more. You saved my life without hesitation, Ethan. Few would risk themselves as you did. Why did you do it? Ethan met her gaze sincerely, his voice steady. Because it was right, and I couldn't leave you there. Your life is important. Alyssa's eyes shone with emotion, and she smiled faintly. Important ... to you? Ethan hesitated, gathering courage. Yes, princess, important to me. They stood silently, the weight of their feelings becoming clearer in the quiet night. Alyssa broke the silence gently. Please call me Alyssa, Ethan. When we're alone, just Alyssa. Ethan nodded slowly, smiling softly. All right, Alyssa. Alyssa looked relieved, visibly relaxing. She turned slightly, gazing at the stars overhead. It's peaceful tonight, isn't it? Moments like these are rare. Ethan looked up, sharing the quiet moment with her. Yes, it is. I never imagined I'd experience something like this. Alyssa glanced at him, curiosity evident. What is your home? Like Ethan, your planet? Ethan smiled, recalling Earth warmly. It's beautiful in its way. Oceans, mountains, forests. It's not perfect, but it's home. Alyssa listened attentively, clearly fascinated. You must miss it? Ethan nodded softly, honesty in his voice. Sometimes, yes, but I also feel grateful to be here. I've learned so much, met remarkable people. Alyssa's lips curved into a soft smile. Even if some like me weren't so welcoming. At first, Ethan laughed gently. Even then, Alyssa, you had every reason to be cautious. Alyssa's expression became serious again. I was afraid, Ethan. Afraid of trust. Afraid of showing weakness. Ethan looked at her kindly. There's strength in trusting others, Alyssa. You don't have to carry everything alone. Alyssa sighed. Softly stepping even closer, the distance between them now minimal. It's difficult. I've always had to be strong, to show no vulnerability. Ethan gently took her hand, heart pounding in his chest. You don't have to be strong alone anymore. Let me help you. Alyssa looked at their joined hands, her eyes glistening. I've never allowed anyone this close, Ethan. But with you, it feels ... safe. Ethan squeezed her hand gently, reassuringly. You are safe, Alyssa. I promise. They stood silently again, comforted by each other's presence. The soft sounds of the night surrounded them, peaceful and soothing. Ethan felt a deep connection to Alyssa, something powerful and genuine. A sudden noise in the distance broke their quiet moment. Alyssa turned quickly, alert and cautious. Did you hear that? Ethan nodded, senses heightened. Yes. Stay close. They moved carefully towards the palace, staying quiet and hidden. As they neared the outer wall, Ethan spotted movement in the shadows. Intruders, their intentions clearly hostile. We need to warn the guards, Ethan whispered urgently. Alyssa nodded, focused and determined. They moved silently through the shadows, Ethan protecting Alyssa carefully. Reaching the palace entrance, Ethan quickly signaled the guards, alerting them to the danger. Within moments, the palace was alive with action. Guards quickly responded, preparing to defend against the threat. Ethan guided Alyssa inside, staying close as the chaos unfolded around them. Alyssa turned to Ethan, her violet eyes filled with worry. We must stop them from entering, Ethan. The palace must hold. Ethan nodded firmly, taking charge. Stay here, Alyssa. I'll secure the main entrance. Alyssa hesitated, eyes full of concern. Be careful, Ethan. Please. Ethan smiled reassuringly, gently touching her shoulder. I'll be. All right, trust me. Alyssa reluctantly nodded, watching anxiously as Ethan moved away quickly, rallying the guards around him. He directed them efficiently, ensuring every defense was secure. His clear commands gave the guards confidence and purpose. The intruders launched their attack fiercely, but Ethan's careful preparations held firm. He moved from one position to another, encouraging the defenders and ensuring no weaknesses appeared. Each successful defense increases determination. Alyssa watched, from the safety of the inner palace, heart pounding with anxiety and pride. She admired Ethan's bravery and leadership, her trust in him growing stronger with every passing moment. After a tense struggle, the attackers retreated, unable to breach the palace's strong defenses. Cheers filled the halls as the defenders celebrated their victory. Ethan felt relief and exhaustion, knowing they had successfully protected the palace. Alyssa quickly found Ethan among the guards, eyes shining with relief and gratitude. She approached him swiftly, placing a gentle hand on his arm. "Thank you, Ethan," she said warmly. "You protected us all." Ethan smiled softly, exhaustion visible but happy. "I just did what was needed." Alyssa's gaze was gentle, affectionate. "You did far more than that, Ethan. You've earned my complete trust." Ethan felt warmth fill him at her words. "I won't let you down, Alyssa." Alyssa smiled gently, stepping even closer. "I know you won't, and I trust you completely." Together, they stood among the victorious guards, their bond stronger than ever, ready to face any challenge ahead. After the attack on the palace, everything changed. Ethan noticed the atmosphere around him had shifted, though subtly at first. The guards who previously treated him with disdain now looked at him differently. There was still suspicion, but also respect. Ethan had saved their princess, and news like that traveled quickly through the palace. Alyssa recovered from her injuries swiftly, her strength and determination becoming evident again. She took charge immediately, ordering repairs and enhanced security measures. Ethan found himself at the heart of these tasks, working alongside palace engineers and military officers. Despite his anxiety about working close to Alyssa again, he stayed focused on his job, determined not to make another mistake. One afternoon, as Ethan was repairing the main security console, he heard footsteps approaching. Looking up, he saw Alyssa standing near him, watching quietly. He stood straight quickly, unsure how to react, and inclined his head respectfully. "Princess Alyssa," he greeted carefully. Alyssa hesitated briefly before speaking, her tone softer than usual. "Ethan, are the repairs going well?" Surprised at the gentle way she addressed him, Ethan quickly nodded. "Yes, Princess. The palace will be secure again soon." Alyssa studied him for a moment, her violet eyes thoughtful. "You have proven yourself loyal, Ethan. My people recognize that, as do I." Ethan felt warmth spread across his face at her acknowledgement. He wasn't sure how to respond, but managed a quiet "thank you." Alyssa moved closer, looking at the console Ethan had just repaired. She appeared deep in thought. "My people have faced threats before, but never has anyone risked themselves so freely for me." Ethan cleared his throat nervously, deciding honesty was best. "Princess, it was the right thing to do. Anyone would have done the same." Alyssa shook her head gently, a faint smile appearing on her lips. "No, Ethan, not everyone. That is why it matters." Ethan's heartbeat quickened as their eyes briefly met. He quickly looked down at the console again, focusing his attention there, his cheeks flushed. He didn't know how to handle her unexpected kindness. Afraid he might say something wrong again, Alyssa seemed to notice his discomfort and gracefully. "Step back. Please, continue your good work. My people rely on your skills." With those words, Alyssa left the room, leaving Ethan both relieved and bewildered. He had not expected such a change in her manner, nor her gentle acknowledgement. His thoughts spun in confusion as he finished his repairs, unsure how to interpret her words. Later that evening, Ethan joined the palace workers in the common hall for a meal. The workers and guards sat together, the earlier hostility replaced. With cautious friendliness, conversations flowed around him about the day's repairs, security measures, and occasional whispers about Princess Alyssa's changed attitude towards the human engineer. "So, Ethan," said a guard named Lucas, offering him some bread, "you really impressed the princess. Not an easy task." Ethan smiled softly, accepting the bread. "I was just doing my job." Lucas laughed, shaking his head. "Modest too. Careful. Friend, modesty can get you noticed here." The others around the table chuckled, and Ethan felt a growing sense of camaraderie. He relaxed a bit, grateful for the newfound acceptance among them. However, his peace didn't last long. The next morning, Ethan received an urgent summons from Alyssa. Heart pounding with nervous anticipation, Ethan quickly made his way to her private chamber. It was rare for anyone, especially a human, to enter this room, and Ethan could not help but feel anxious. He knocked gently on the ornate door. "Come in," Alyssa called softly. Ethan entered carefully, glancing around the beautifully decorated chamber. Alyssa stood near a window, bathed in soft, natural light. Her expression was serious, but her violet eyes seemed softer than usual. "Princess," Ethan greeted, bowing his head slightly. Alyssa moved towards him, her gaze steady. "Ethan, we have reports of another possible attack. Our defenses must be flawless. I trust you above others." Ethan felt honored by her words, nodding. Solemnly, "I won't let you down, Princess." She studied his face closely, her gaze thoughtful. "After the last attack, I realized trust is rare and precious. I was harsh to you, Ethan. I regret it." Ethan quickly shook his head. "Princess, there's no need. It was an accident, and your reaction was understandable." Alyssa's lips curved into a slight smile, something rare yet stunning. "Your kindness and forgiveness shame me further, Ethan. It is not common among my people." Ethan hesitated, gathering courage to speak honestly again. "Princess, your strength and determination inspired me. Your people respect you greatly, and for good reason." Alyssa appeared genuinely touched by his words, briefly looking away as if to hide her emotions. "Thank you, Ethan. That means more than you know." They stood silently for a moment, the air between them heavy with unsaid feelings. Finally, Alyssa broke the silence. "Prepare the defenses. I'll trust your judgment." Ethan nodded, relieved to have a task. "Yes, Princess." As Ethan turned to leave, Alyssa called softly again. He paused, glancing back. "Ethan, be careful," she said gently. A warmth filled Ethan at her concern, and he smiled reassuringly. "I will." "Princess." As Ethan left the room, his thoughts were a whirlwind of confusion and hope. Alyssa's changed attitude and newfound trust gave him strength and purpose. He would not fail her. He quickly returned to his tasks, focused and determined. He double-checked every detail of the security system, ensuring no weaknesses remained. As he worked, Ethan felt Alyssa's eyes upon him often. Silently observing from a distance, the palace remained tense but prepared. Everyone knew the stakes and worked tirelessly to protect their home. Ethan's heart swelled with pride at being part of something important, and he vowed silently that he would keep Alyssa and her kingdom safe, no matter the cost. Ethan was a simple human engineer who had always kept his head down and focused on his work. He had never expected to find himself on an alien world, let alone inside the grand palace of Princess Alyssa. He had heard many stories about Alyssa, the alien princess known across the galaxy for her stunning beauty and fierce temperament. But Ethan wasn't here for beauty or royalty. He was here to fix the palace's security and communication systems. Ethan quietly walked through the gleaming halls of the palace, his toolbox in hand, marveling at the intricate designs etched onto the walls. He admired the way the architecture combined beauty with advanced technology. It felt strange and impressive to him, far from his modest home back on Earth. "Hurry up, human!" a guard snapped at Ethan. He turned to see a tall alien guard, his expression stern and unfriendly. Ethan nodded politely and quickened his pace, following the guard towards the main control room. He was used to the dismissive attitudes some aliens had towards humans. He didn't take it personally. Instead, he focused on his job, determined to complete his task well and return home safely. Once inside the control room, Ethan set to work immediately. The equipment was familiar enough to him, despite the strange alien symbols flashing on the screens. He carefully checked each connection, replacing worn parts and ensuring everything worked smoothly. Hours passed by quickly as he became absorbed in his task. Just as he was finishing up, Ethan sensed someone standing nearby. He glanced over his shoulder and was stunned to see Princess Alyssa herself observing him quietly. She stood tall, dressed in flowing robes that shimmered gently under the soft lights of the room. Her skin was a pale shade of blue, almost translucent, and her violet eyes held an intensity that made Ethan pause. "Is there a problem, Princess?" Ethan asked respectfully, feeling slightly nervous. Alyssa didn't answer right away. She moved closer, her gaze carefully inspecting his work. Ethan felt uncomfortable under her intense scrutiny, but stood quietly, waiting for her reaction. Finally, she spoke, her voice smooth yet cold. "Will it work?" "Yes, Princess," Ethan replied confidently. "It should work perfectly now. I've replaced all faulty parts and tested everything." Alyssa gave him a slight nod of approval, but as she turned away, Ethan accidentally brushed his hand against her arm. The contact was brief, barely noticeable, but Alyssa froze immediately. She slowly turned to face him, her violet eyes blazing. With sudden anger, Ethan's heart raced, realizing his mistake. He quickly stepped back and lowered his head. "I'm sorry, Princess. I didn't mean to touch me once, and I won't forgive you, human." Alyssa interrupted sharply, her voice filled with restrained fury. Ethan opened his mouth, but no words came out. He had never intended any disrespect, and her reaction left him speechless. He could only nod in apology as she turned and left the room without another word. Alone again, Ethan stood for a moment, heart still pounding, realizing just how fragile his position was here. He reminded himself to be more careful in the future. He quickly gathered his tools, double-checking his work before leaving the room. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. The incident kept replaying in his mind. He felt terrible for having offended Alyssa, even if unintentionally. He wondered how he could make things right, or if he even could. Ethan knew his presence was temporary, yet he still felt uneasy about leaving things as they were. In the following days, Ethan worked diligently, avoiding Alyssa as much as possible. However, his duties occasionally brought him close to the princess, and each encounter was tense and awkward. Alyssa never spoke to him, though Ethan often felt her gaze upon him, sharp and scrutinizing. One morning, Ethan was summoned urgently to the palace's eastern wing. Alarms were blaring loudly, and panic was visible among the palace staff. There had been an attack, a sudden assault by rebel factions targeting Alyssa's kingdom. Chaos filled the corridors as Ethan rushed through, helping guards direct terrified palace staff to safe locations. Amidst the chaos, Ethan overheard shouting from a nearby chamber. Recognizing Alyssa's voice, filled with pain and distress, he ran towards the sound. Inside, the room was half destroyed by explosions, and Alyssa lay trapped beneath heavy debris. Her violet eyes were wide with fear, something Ethan never expected. To see Dot for a moment, Ethan hesitated, remembering Alyssa's stern warning. His heart pounded loudly in his chest as he debated what to do. But seeing her pain and vulnerability, Ethan knew he couldn't leave her trapped. Gathering his courage, he stepped forward and quickly began moving the heavy debris away. Alyssa watched him silently, breathing heavily from her injuries. Ethan strained under the weight of the rubble, working tirelessly until finally he freed her. Carefully, he helped her sit up, checking for any serious wounds. Alyssa stared at him, her anger gone, replaced by confusion and uncertainty. She seemed unable to find the words as Ethan gently helped her stand. "Are you all right, Princess?" Ethan asked quietly, concern evident in his eyes. Alyssa nodded slowly, unable to fully meet his gaze. She softly whispered, "Thank you." Ethan felt relief wash over him at her gratitude, even if spoken softly. Perhaps forgiveness wasn't entirely out of reach after all.